Okay, wait, I'll record this too, right? We will see the correct one. King d6. Now this is a draw. Yeah, there is close opposition, and like you cannot push the pawn. The draw part we will see later, but no. Okay, again, we will do last class we briefly saw this, but I think yeah, we will have to have more work on it to have better clarity. So I'll tell this once again. Okay, and yeah, last time I did not send you the class recording. This time I will. Yeah. So what happens here is, Ritesh, remember, watch it carefully. This is called what?
Major line.
And why? How do we determine which is a major line? How do we decide which is a major line?
Mm,
Any idea?
not sure.
Okay. Uh, it is the line with the pawn. Okay. The major line will be the line with the pawn. Wherever the pawn is, and remember, this rule is only for king and pawn versus king and game. When you or your opponent has one king, one pawn versus a king, this is the thing. Okay. So let's say if this is the position, which is the major line?
The C file.
The C file, right? If pawn was over here and yeah, now which is a major line?
G file.
Yeah, obvious. That's it, right? It is a line of the pawn. Okay,
Yeah.
so for the draw, yeah, what you'll have to do is you simply have to get closer to the king, give opposition, and the win. We will now look for win. Let's not talk about draw. It's a little different and it is confusing, but yeah, now you know this is the major line, right? So in order for you to win, Ritesh, remember this carefully. In order for you to win, in the major line, you need to give opposition. Okay, it might be a distant opposition or close opposition, doesn't matter. You have to give opposition in the major line. That's the idea for winning. Okay, we will discuss what in for the draw later, what to do in the major line and what not. But here for win, you will have to give opposition. So how do we do that? How can we give opposition in the major line? From
King to E3.
yes, it is a distant opposition. But again, and one more rule to remember, when you want to win the game, you want your king in front of the pawn, not in the same line of the pawn or behind the pawn. Never, never behind the pawn. Okay, we never go behind the pawn. You'll have to be either in the same line as of the pawn or in front of it. Okay, so you either have to, okay, I think I'll, yeah. So remember this carefully. You have to be either in front of the pawn. Okay, most of the time in front of the pawn itself. We don't even want to be in the same line as of the pawn when the king gets closer and closer, because that also will be a problem itself. We will see that again when the draw is coming. Okay, so in the major line, we would want to give opposition and not by going back. Definitely not by going back. Okay, we go forward. So yes, king e3 is right. We give opposition. And now when the king goes here, you told me that we want to go to d3, but in the previous when we are talking there, right? But no, we don't want to continue to give opposition. If you go on giving opposition, see, nothing is going to happen. Yes, you're giving opposition, but you're not exploiting the opposition or using that opposition to win the game, right? We know that giving opposition technically wins the game, but how do you win it? That is by doing outflank. Okay, so and let us see how to do that. Again, here when he is in the major line, you don't do the outflank or anything. You do opposition. But as soon as they go somewhere else, when they go out of the major line, let's say if they go to the left of the major line, you will do the outflank now. Now we are going to do the outflank. This is called outflank. That is going to the right, but one square up. One square up to the right. And why are we doing this? Because, of course, we want to control more squares. We don't want to stay here forever, isn't it? If you stay there forever, this pawn will never queen. We would want to go up and up, but you cannot randomly do this like this because they will give you opposition. Right now it's okay because pawn can go two squares, but otherwise, I mean, that's not a good way to do it. Okay,
Okay.
We don't want to randomly go up. We'll have to be very careful, very mindful about it. That is, if he goes from the major line, if your opponent goes to the left, you go to the right, to the opposite direction, but one square up. So he went to the left, you go to the right, but one square up. Okay, this is called outflank. Outflank is more like outsmarting your opponent. Okay, flank is okay. No, let's not go deep into the word meaning. Let's first understand this. Okay, yeah. So one square up. Now, if he stays in the side, okay, yeah, this is one thing to understand. This is the major line, right, Ritesh? Two
Yes.
sides are called the flank. The flank of the major line. Flank is basically the sides. Okay, in this particular one, it is just the very next to yours is called the flank. Okay,
Yes, sir.
in the actual game, there is other flanks also, like when we are starting from the beginning. But in the end game, or in this particular king and pawn end game, it's very simply these two are the flank, the one next to the pawns. Okay, so you're not going to the same flank or same side. Flank is equal to side. Yeah, flank is side. This is the left side. One is let's make it color different color. The blue one is the left flank. That is the left side of the major line. Yellow one is the right side or the right flank. Okay, so you are not going to the same flank. You do not go to the same side. You go to the opposite sides. You outflank them. You outsmart them, or you go to the other side. Okay. So now, if he stays in the flank, you also stay in the flank and go and control a little more by going up. But if he doesn't stay in the flank and if he comes to the major line, now what do we do when they are in the major line?
King to e5.
Very good. We are not going to go back and give opposition randomly like that. We want to control more and more squares. That's the whole idea. In order for the pawn to go to the top, we need the king's support, and king can't support it by sitting backwards, isn't it? We need to go further, and yes, we always have to convert the distant opposition to the close opposition. Can you tell me the difference between what is distant opposition or what is close opposition?
Distant opposition means 3 squares are blank.
These squares are?
3 squares are blank. And
Okay.
opposition means 1 square blank.
Very good. Close opposition is 1 square blank. Distant opposition is either 3 squares or even 5 squares blank. Okay, 3 squares are blank. That is distant opposition. Another form of distant opposition is 5 squares blank. Even that is distant opposition. All the odd numbers. Okay, 5 is again distant opposition. 3 is also distant opposition. And 1 is the close opposition.
Okay, sir.
And it is very important to remember that you always have to convert the distant opposition. Even if it is 5 or 3, you will have to always convert it into the single or the close opposition. And in order to convert there, you'll have to do the outflank. Outflank is the way to convert the distant opposition from 3 square or 5 square blank to 1 square. Okay, we'll have to do outflank. And in order to win the game, we'll have to always convert that distant opposition into close. Okay, this will be helpful even in the future classes, future topics. Okay, this is the first and the basic topic of opposition. So yeah, you have understood this correctly till here. Yes, convert it into the close opposition. That is correct. Now again, he is forced to go to, let's say he goes to the right side, the right flank. What are you going to do now?
Go to d6.
Go to d6. Very good. Right? You outflank them. You go to the opposite side, but 1 square up. Right? He went to the right. You go to the left, but 1 square up. Very good. Now he will come down. What do we do? He stayed in the flank. Should we just go up in the flank like this? He stayed in the side. So should we go up in the side over here? Is this a good move?
No,
Okay. Why not?
because if we move, the king will move to f5 and then we cannot push e4.
Very good. Very good. Yes. So in this situation, okay, to remember, right, till there is also that perfect position, right? Remember what is a perfect position?
Yes.
Which is a perfect position? Can you tell me?
Mm,
Oh, the video went off, I think. We'll stop soon. Okay, very soon. Soon after this. Don't worry. Okay, the perfect position is basically your king in the 6th rank and pawn in the 5th rank. King in the 6th rank and pawn just below it. That is a perfect position. So in the perfect position, it's like that spawn area in the video games. Do you play video games, Ritesh?
no, sir.
Okay, all right, no worries. Okay, so this is a perfect position is where you don't worry about who's having the opposition. No matter who has the opposition, white can win the game. Okay, we will get into it more. But here, so what you need to remember in this particular simple thing is that once you do all these opposition, outflank, and all, once your king reaches the 6th rank, it is time to bring your pawn. Okay, it is time to bring your pawn. Now you can play e4. And again, one more thing we need to remember. Remember, we have learned about key squares, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what are the key squares in this position?
Then b4, e4, f4.
Very good. Yes, these are the key squares. 2 squares up, left and right. So that is what you'll have to think here also if you want. Before you make a move, if you go here, which will be the key squares?
e6, e6, f6.
Very good. And our king is already in the key square. It's just that our king needs to be inside the key square. And here, the king is already there. So yes, this is 100% correct move. Not allowing the king to come here or here. So he pretty much have to go back. Now, you cannot just move up because he moved there, because he will come down and try to play this. So even you'll have to come down. He will go up. Yeah. So it will just go on repeating there. So of course, you don't have to do that. You can again bring the pawn up. Why? Remember the key squares in the 5th rank? It will be these 6 are the key squares. Right? Once the pawn crosses its territory, it becomes 6 key squares. So your king is already inside it, and you know you can win this, isn't it? The king is over here. So now if they go up here, useless. But why? Because even we will move in the flank and suddenly bing, bang, boom, isn't it? We are controlling all these 3 of them, and the pawn will easily promote. Nobody will stop us. So in order to stop us, they will have to go to the major line. What do you do now if they're in the major line?
King to e6.
Very good. We give opposition. King e6. Now he is going here. Now
King to f7.
that's it. And that is a clear win because we are controlling these promoting squares and nobody can stop us now. Even if he comes down, I don't care. I can easily promote my pawn. King is protecting all 3 squares. It's helping us promote, right? So once the king is over here, game is over. Now, no matter where the king goes, push the pawn. Doesn't matter there because the king is protecting and we can get the queen. And then you know how to win. Okay, so I will send you this part. I need you to watch this and also do a little work over here, right, on key squares itself. Okay, Ritesh. And in the next class, we will go a little bit deeper into this, where we'll be talking a little more on this, some small problems that our opponent might give. Plus, we will also play with each other on this one. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Bye bye. That's enough for today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. Bye bye. I'll send this recording to you. Okay. So, yeah. Go through this one, and I think you'll have better clarity.